A few days ago, a headline appeared on TradingView, sourced from News BTC. It said that Christopher Langan, a man often described as having the world's highest recorded IQ, is now buying XRP. His exact words were, "I buy XRP from now on." Now, this video is not about IQ scores, and it's definitely not about copying anyone's trades or opinions. What makes this interesting isn't who said it. It's what this says about how XRP is starting to be viewed again, especially by people who normally avoid controversial or polarizing assets altogether. For a long time, XRP has been an asset that many people simply didn't want to touch publicly. So when someone like this is willing to say something openly, it tells us that something underneath the surface may be shifting. Before we go further, a quick clarification. This video is not financial advice, and I'm not telling anyone what to buy or sell. This is about psychology, perception, and how narratives change in markets, often quietly and often long before price reflects it. Markets rarely move when everyone agrees and feels comfortable. They usually move when resistance fades slowly, skepticism softens, and ideas that were once dismissed start to become discussable again. That's the lens to watch this through. XRP has never been an easy asset to support publicly. For years it's been criticized, dismissed, and treated as controversial, even toxic, in parts of the crypto space. In many circles, supporting XRP wasn't a neutral stance. It could affect credibility, reputation, and how seriously someone was taken. That history matters, because when an asset carries that kind of baggage, people don't associate with it casually or accidentally. They usually go out of their way to avoid it, especially if they value logic, reputation, and long-term thinking. This isn't about whether Christopher Langan is right or wrong. One person doesn't validate an asset. But when someone known for being outspoken, skeptical, and contrarian is willing to associate themselves publicly with XRP, it raises a more interesting question. Not what he said, not even why XRP, but why now? What changed enough that this position became defensible to state publicly? That's where this story actually becomes interesting. Highly analytical and skeptical thinkers tend to avoid crowded narratives. They avoid hype-driven trades. They avoid emotionally charged stories. And they often arrive late, intentionally, to anything that feels noisy or unstable. They usually move when risk becomes asymmetric, when the downside feels increasingly limited, and the upside no longer feels irrational, when narratives quietly shift, and when an asset stops feeling socially or intellectually indefensible. That doesn't mean certainty. It means the cost of being wrong has changed. And that psychological shift is often the earliest signal that something deeper is happening. At the same time as this statement, broader data tells a similar story. XRP often appears disconnected from its infrastructure role, its liquidity usage, and its position in payment and settlement discussions. This is where tools like TradingView help, not for predictions, but for perspective. They help you see moments when price, sentiment, and structure stop lining up cleanly. Those disconnects don't always resolve immediately, but historically, they tend to matter more than short-term excitement or headlines. Despite all the debate, XRP continues to trade heavily on liquid venues like Binance and Bitget. That tells you serious participants are still active, focused on execution, depth, and positioning, rather than social narratives. This phase doesn't feel exciting. There's no rush, no celebration, no obvious confirmation yet. But historically, this quieter phase is often where perception shifts quietly take place, before the broader market notices. This isn't about copying Christopher Langan. It's not a prediction, and it's not a guarantee of anything. It's a signal that XRP is moving from being dismissed outright to being reconsidered rationally, even if cautiously. And in markets, that transition usually matters before it becomes obvious to everyone else. If you follow XRP long-term, tools matter. For analysis, many people use TradingView. For active trading, platforms like Binance and Bitget. And for long-term holding, many prefer cold storage like Ledger, where assets stay offline and in your control. If you want calm, no-hype XRP analysis focused on structure and psychology, you can subscribe here. Thanks for watching.